Here we are going to discuss the Z-test for mean for 3 research questions. Let's take a look at the research questions. So these are research questions 4, 5, and 6. 4 is asking question about the maths, positive maths feelings, and the alternative is saying greater than a certain value. Number 5 is asking about the average time spent practicing. The alternative is saying less than a certain value. And number 6 is asking about the score, and the alternative is saying not equal. You notice that I'm focusing on the alternative because the trend is that you can keep the null to be equal for all 3. Okay, all 3 tails, right tail, left tail, and 2 tail. You can keep the null equal, so you don't have to write less than or equal to. You can just write equal all the way for the null. So we'll start off with the positive math feelings where the hypothesized mean. The alternative is saying that the mean is greater than a certain hypothesized mean. Now we need to access our data. Let's first take a look at the questions in the questionnaire to identify the variable positive math feelings. Here it is. And to access the data, we go to responses. You can download it in a CSV format, or you can view it in sheets. You will get a Google Sheet with the data presented, and we copy it and we paste it in a worksheet that we are using. So here it is. Okay, here is the values that we are going to use. So we can actually copy this value. Control-C, and go to our online calculator. Now, through careful research, it is observed that the Z-test is used when we know the standard deviation of the population, that is sigma. Now, if you do not know sigma, then you have to use what you call a t-test. Now, we do not know sigma, we do not know the population mean for the positive feelings of the students. That's a brand new variable they are being measured on. So therefore, we have to use a t-test. So please use t-test instead of z-test. And we go to the t-test calculator, we type t-test single sample calculator. And let's take a look at the statistics kingdom. It's kind of more user-friendly. So our tails now will be right tail, because that's what, for research question number 4, that's what was stated. Now we need the expected mean, so we need to calculate the sample mean to develop a hypothesized mean that makes sense with regards to our alternative. Remember, we are saying that the population is greater than a certain value. Now we got an average of 54 because we use the formula for average here. 54.2. So if this sample, which is a fraction of the population, is 54, then we must be hypothesizing. So that 54 must be greater than. So we have to think of a hypothesized mean, which is below 54. Okay. We can say 54 is greater than 80. No, that does not make any sense. 54 can't be greater than 51, 55, right? So we can use a number like 50. So we can say, well, okay, the population mean seems to be greater than 50. Okay, so we can type in 50 there. And these other statistics, outliers, and so forth, we can say included. We can exclude the outliers because I see a 0 there. Exclude the outlier, or effect size is 0.5, or significance is 0.05. That's what we are very familiar with. And we can click in the option, tick the option, raw data directly. So we can paste our data. We have already copied it. Control V, paste our data. So it will ignore those outliers, those 4 and 0s and so forth. Okay. And Let's go to calculate. And voila, here is the output or p-value or test statistic, t-test statistic. So you have what you call the z-test statistic and t-test statistic, or sample size or sample mean or sample standard deviation. And these are more intense. These values are more for more intense analysis. So we have everything that we need. So we can simply copy this and paste this into our worksheet. Oh, by the way, we can take a look at reporting APA style. Let's copy that also. Let's see if the table will copy directly. Yes, it does. And we have the APA style format to report. Now we need to state our null and our alternative. We can do that above there. HO, population mean. Okay, we can go to equations. Look for population mean mu is equal to 50. Okay, and our alternative, we can use H1 for our alternative. The population mean is greater than 50. That's what we have emphasizing. So how significant is that? Now, if you realize now our p-value is 0.1675. So we have to keep the null. Okay, bear that in mind. It's not mentioned here, but we can type it in. Since the p-value of 0.1675 is greater than the significance level of 0.05, the null hypothesis is not rejected. We can remind ourselves of this from weekly notes number 9. So here we are accessing weekly notes number 9 in the Google Classroom, and we are looking at the p-value approach. What is the decision criteria? Okay. Here it is, p-value approach. Decision criteria. Do not reject the null if the p-value is less. No, reject the null. Sorry, reject the null if the p-value is less than the significance level. Do not reject the null if the p-value is greater than the significance level. So our p-value is 0.1675 is greater than 0.05. So therefore now, what do we do? Greater than, do not reject the null hypothesis. Okay, is not rejected. So that is why now the results of the one sample t-test indicate that there is no significant, there's a very small difference. Okay, and the reason why it is saying that is because the null is saying there is no difference. It is equal to 50. So that 54 now is not significantly different than 50. So that is the conclusion. And that is reporting APA style. Results of the one sample t-test indicated that there is non-significant, very small difference between the group, okay, with a sample mean of 54, standard deviation of 26.7, and the population mean of 50, and T48.1, P of 0.168. And this is another parameter that is including the coins D, you will learn that in higher level stats. So that's basically how you can approach a single sample t-test, and our variable there is positive math failures.